Little Rascals was tons of auditions. I don't know if y'all went through
Yeah.
a gajillion, dude. And I was technically under contract to Full House for that whole time. So they could have absolutely said, no, you can't.
After being discovered and winning Star Search at just 6 years old, he became known to many as everyone's favorite spoiled rich kid, Waldo, in The Little Rascals. He later went on to star in major theater productions including Ragtime and The Boy from Oz. Please welcome Blake McIver Ewing. From our childhood to yours, welcome to the Not So Little Rascals.
So many Blakes here right now. Blake, and Jordan Blake.
Yeah.
My mom is Susan. Your mom is Susan.
Yes.
My mom's not.
Your mom is not. Your mom is
Mom's
Ellen.
not.
But I think we've proven that the Susan Blake momager child actor team is a winning combo. You know?
I think it is.
So, there's that. But anyways, hi, Blake.
Hi.
Thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
It's really nice to have you.
Thrilled to be here.
Yeah, it's really good to see you.
10 years, I think, since we've been together again.
Yeah, since that last
Yeah, the
reunion.
20 reunion.
Yeah.
We like to start this out by asking you about your first call, like the call that changed your life, essentially. Like, I know, Little Rascals was an early job for you, but you actually did something pretty significant before that in Star Search.
Yes.
I'd like to hear about both of those, like those calls and like how that changed your life, essentially.
Absolutely. Yeah, it did start with Star Search. And how that came about was kind of a funny story as well. I started kind of bugging my mom to perform, to sing, to dance. We were watching Star Search as a family. It was the thing to watch at that time. And I was desperate to be on it. And my mom was like, you're too young. You don't have any experience. You need to. And I think there was a little part of her that was like, if I get him into dance school, because my mom started as a dancer, if I get him into dance school, this might get it out of his system. He might not want to do it. And so sure enough, the opposite, it totally backfired. And hilariously, the one dance teacher here in LA that she knew was one of her former teachers in Houston that had moved out here, Patsy Swayze of That Swayze, literally Patrick's mother.
Yeah.
So my first dance teacher is Patrick Swayze's mom.
One of my heroes.
So
He
much
literally
connections in
gave
Hollywood.
me my first dance trophy. Like he handed me the first
You
like
got a
little,
picture of
when
that?
you do the little like kids competition. Oh yeah, I've got a great picture of that. So I was too young to be in Patsy's competition group. So she put me in as the entertainment while the judges were tabulating for the various dance competitions. So we were over at the Beverly Garland Hotel right down the street, which I now live a stone's throw from, which is so funny.
Yeah.
A competition team was doing a competition. I sang a little patriotic medley. That was the first time that there was any Yankee Doodle thing happened in my life. Yeah, little George M. Cohen medley. And Tony Sharmely, the director of Star Search, was one of the judges at that particular competition. And he approached my parents right after the competition was over and after they had tabulated. He was like, I screwed up my scores because I had to redo my scores because I was watching your son and I want him on our next season of Star Search as a junior vocalist. And
How
so I
old were
went
you when that happened?
I was 6.
You were 6.
Yeah.
You have one of the few stories where you knew you wanted to be in entertainment or do something versus everyone else kind of put into it. That's really cool.
And because both of my parents were in show business, they were very hesitant about me getting into it. So I had the opposite, typical stage parent experience. They were very like, are you sure? There was always like the check-in of like, do you want to stop? Do you want to not go to the audition? Yeah, it was better.
So they don't have to feel like it came from them. No. Did you do it from watching them for years? Or was that a lot of it?
A lot of it, yeah. It was hard to, in my world, all of their friends were actors or producers or directors of some sort. I was surrounded by it. So I kind of just thought this is it was very much the family business.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool. Your dad, I can't remember his name. Bill.
Yeah.
That's right. And Bill was an actor and producer, and I think he was a writer too.
And then he became a studio executive. So while we were doing Rascals and all during that 90s period, he was working at Columbia Pictures. He was their senior vice president of production. Yeah.
You were built for this.
Yeah.
It was in your blood.
It was in the blood.
But it lets it be healthy when your parents understand behind the scenes.
Exactly.
You want to be in it, so you can do it that way too.
Yep.
So could you tell us a little about the Star Search experience and what was that like? Obviously you were so little. And,
yeah. There was something so special about, I had no noise and I had no fear at that age. So I was just so excited to be there. I was obsessed with the set. I was obsessed with the big turntable, the runway with the giant neon star in the center. Like, I was just a kid in a candy store, really. My first rehearsal, I came to the set, and, you know, everything obviously was to track. So they like cue up your track and whatnot. And the kids had performed on this little side stage, not on the main star in the center. And I just remember, like, 6 years old, just asking the director, just like, can I sing? Why can't I sing on the star? I thought I was going to get to sing on the star like everybody else.
That's awesome. He's probably like, we didn't think of that.
We don't have the kids sing on the star. I guess we could try it.
Why not?
You're like, yeah, why?
I was like, can we? And he was like, yeah, well, let's camera block it. And then from then on, all the kids sang on the star.
That's the best story to have of like why it was just meant to be.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So you're welcome, Britney Spears. You got to sing on the star because
all the people that came after you, you set the precedent
paved
for.
the way.
So winning Star Search, also, like, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was wild.
What was, like, did you comprehend what was really, I mean, you knew the show. So
I did know the show.
You did know what was happening.
I knew the system. It all happened very fast because they would film those episodes back to back to back. So sometimes we would do 2 a day. And I had enough wins to qualify me to go to the finals. But I remember we had to be in the studio audience for like X amount of episodes after, in case they announced, in case it was like, oh, enough losses, I guess, happened. And then you would be the one going to the finals and they needed the shot of you like waving or whatever. So that's actually how I got to see Britney perform for the first time, because I was in the audience when she competed. Yep.
She's just a little bit older than us, right? Maybe a couple years.
Just a couple years.
Okay.
Yeah. And my friend Marty Thomas beat her. We didn't become friends till much later in life, but
that's amazing.
A phenomenal
Everything
singer.
is so connected.
Yeah, so it was very, I just remember it being very fast. And then I lost pretty catastrophically on my 5th episode, which was sort of devastating because I was kind of like, oh, this is easy. You know, like this is just, I just sing and then I win, and then I sing and then I win, and I sing and then I win. And we had to have so many songs lined up. You know, the arrangements were written and done, for weeks leading up to. I think you had to have like 9 different arrangements ready to go in case. And so I remember that was devastating. But then it was, I think, a week later that things played out. I qualified for the finals, and then it was just like, okay, then just prepare for the last performance. Right. So you didn't really have time to think about it.
That's such an interesting thing, like that first experience of rejection, and then going on to be a child actor and going on these auditions and callbacks all the time. And like, oh, I didn't get that job. That's another rejection.
Sure.
Like, it's something that we kind of became accustomed to very young, like, and got used to it in a way.
For good or bad?
For good, yeah. For better or for worse, I'm not sure. But I try to think about and process how that's affected me as an adult. And I'm not really sure yet. But getting used to rejection at such a young age, like, I don't know.
It's tough. And the Star Search thing, the only thing that I can really point to directly is I've never wanted to be on another competition television show in any format again.
Yeah.
Because it's like I started there.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like traumatized. It had no interest.
Well, you also did pretty good, so you were like 1 for 1.
You're just like, I got it out the way. Now I'm doing something else.
Yeah.
Okay, so Star Search, that's awesome. And then not long after Star Search was Little Rascals.
Yes, Full House actually came first.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
A couple of the writer-producers of Full House saw me do the George M. Cohan medley, the Yankee Doodle, that ended with Yankee Doodle, on Star Search. And that's when they had the idea to write this kind of talent show episode, school
You would pop in singing a few times, I remember.
Yeah, and so my first episode was that Yankee Doodle episode. So they wrote this idea of like, oh, Michelle's going to try out for this part in the school play. She's not going to get it. Some little, precocious kid is going to be the star of it. She's going to be upset. Then he's going to have stage fright. And so they came up with the whole conceit based on this performance that they had seen.
Right.
But then I won, and they didn't know if I could string 3 words together. They had just seen me sing on. So I had to go essentially audition for a role that was written about me. So I went in.
How you could do
yeah. So I went in and literally auditioned for a part that was sort of written for me, but then also definitely reading against other. But like there was definitely other people auditioning.
Did you do any
for that.
training for acting like prior?
A little bit, you know,
Like with your
my
parents
parents
even?
helped me out. Yeah. So that and I had done like, I was in a performance troupe. I had done theater up before Star Search. So it wasn't like the first time I had ever done sides before, but definitely not at that level. Sure. And it was, again, a really fast, it was like, okay, once they figured, okay, he can string some words together, he can read, right on to the next. I think the next day I was at the table read. So talk
For
about,
Full House.
Yeah.
What year was this? This was probably like 93?
93.
93, okay.
Yeah. And
how many seasons did you do of Full House?
I did 3 seasons.
Okay.
So I did the last 3. I came in midway through the third to last season.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then stayed on the show until it went off the air.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
God, I love that show.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It had a lot
super fun.
of the child actor crew was on Full House at one point.
Yeah, I never made it.
I didn't either.
Never got that call.
okay.
Yeah, that's all right. So Full House, and then I assume Little Rascals?
And then Little Rascals. So Little Rascals was tons of auditions. I don't know if y'all went through
Yeah.
a gajillion day before we got to that big day.
Sure.
The big day at Universal. The Spielberg day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was audition after audition after audition. And I was technically under contract to Full House for that whole time. So they could have absolutely said, no, you can't. You can't
They
do it.
allowed it to happen, or they didn't need you at that
They
time.
allowed it to happen.
Okay.
So they looked at the schedule once we finally went through all of the 18,000 auditions and got the final calls. We had to present it to my parents. Had to present it to the Full House team and be like,
Sure.
hey, this happened. And then they looked at the schedule, and sure enough, it would have conflicted with 2 episodes that I was already written into.
Oh, wow.
And so they were like, okay, we can work around one, not the other. So we're going to have to write you out of one of 2 episodes that you're scheduled for. And they said one of them is a talent show episode where you'll be singing at the Smash Club. And one of them is a go-kart race. I shit you not.
Oh my God.
And I was like, well, both of these things are happening in this movie that I just got cast in. So I'm like,
hilarious.
Dealer's choice.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to forego the go-kart thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to do that on the big screen.
Yeah.
And then I'll just
funny.
keep coming in and singing for you. 'Cause like,
Wow.
Talk about a sliding doors though too, of like, not, producers don't normally make it easier for people that don't need it to happen like
they
that.
were
That's really cool.
wonderful.
They
The
wanted fucking
team-
Blake Ewing, baby.
Beyond,
know?
But they also, maybe they wanted the kid to be in Little Rascals to add to their Full House, which, it was a very known brand. That probably factors in.
Well, and then the big coup was when Mary-Kate and Ashley's team decided that they were going to do that cameo in the movie.
That makes sense.
That
We got to work together.
that saved it.
Yeah.
And they were like, because they were like, this is great. This just looks great for our show.
Totally.
That all
It's all
these
tied
kids
in.
are in this movie. This is going to be, at the time they were hyping it up. It was going to be a big release.
People probably knew at the time like how big it was
think
likely going to be.
Yeah, I think so. And they were just phenomenal. When I worked with some other teams on some other episodic work and sitcoms, I realized how lucky we had it at Full House. It was a dream team
Yeah.
of people from the top all the way down. Like,
I bet.
it was just phenomenal.
Going back to the audition too, did you only audition for Waldo? Did you do other roles too?
That was it.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't
That
read for
role was
any.
kinda made for him.
I didn't read for anything
because we
else.
Nailed it.
we auditioned, like I did Alfalfa and a couple others first and fell into being Froggy. It seemed like a lot of kids auditioned for different, but then when they found someone they liked, they almost try to make it work.
Yeah.
You were always a fit for Waldo. Obviously, the singing, like there's only so many kids that could audition and even do that role.
Right. Funny enough, the singing wasn't in the script when we auditioned. That
Really?
was added in rehearsal.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was added as we were, when I don't know if it was, I have vague memories of this, but I remember going to Penelope's office on the lot, and we would just be in like small groups where we would just like work a scene in the office. And it was one of those sessions where she was like, I have this idea.
And it's one of the
you
most
singing.
remembered scenes.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
funny.
it makes sense because obviously you had a history of that. They knew you were capable of
Yeah.
that. So why
Well,
wouldn't
she
they
did-
maximize?
She didn't.
Well, just your part or the part that Alfalfa did where he's doing the bubbles? Like, was all of it added?
I
or is
think
one
all
part
of it was
already
added
in?
because the ballet school sequence was already in the script because that was a nod to one of the old Our Gang episodes.
Yeah.
And then there was a talent show in the original
There
Our
was.
Gang.
That's where the Barber of Seville thing
Yes.
came.
Yeah.
And so I know that I think the alfalfa moment with the soap suds was already in the script. I was not performing.
It contrasted
I was
better.
still doing the bad thing. Like I was still adding the soap to the thing. Like I was still.
But it made
the
it better
villainous.
for you to be villainous and also be talented. That makes it better. Like, I can get you and I can out-sing you.
Yeah.
That's way better.
But yeah, that was added, and Penelope did not know that I could sing, because I remember in that rehearsal, like she was like, "You're not gonna know the song. It's an old, the idea that I have in my head, old Nat King Cole song. You're not gonna know it." I was like, well, try me. I literally said, well, try me, because that year was when Natalie Cole released her Unforgettable album that was all her dad's songs. So like I knew every Nat King Cole song that was on that Natalie Cole record, because it had just meant to be. And so I started singing. I sang it to her. I was singing it to her in the office, and she got on that speakerphone, and I don't know how many times I sang LOVE to like every Universal Studio executive that afternoon. And because she was like, "Oh well, W, it's movies. You don't have to sing." I'm like, "I sing, I promise."
Wow.
I just won a singing
cool.
competition.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you remember the feeling when you actually got called and you booked the Little Rascals?
Yes.
Like how did that change your life? Like were you like through the moon? Were your parents through the moon?
That one was wild because it was such a process.
Sure.
You know, everything else happened fast. That one did not happen fast.
Yeah.
You know, you guys remember. It was months and months and months. And then that final day was awful. Like, I don't know if you felt that way, but like that final day, I absolutely hated. When we were all in that holding room, and you could just look around the room, and you're just like, okay, these 3 people are up for that role. These 3 people. It was just, and all the stage parents and all the, you know, I don't remember details, but I remember the anxiety feeling, not about the audition, the anxiety about all the like horrific energy in the room.
Right. Yeah.
You probably, because you worked more than us, like substantially, you probably have a different view of it too.
Yeah.
For me, like the audition process was the fun, and like it just seemed like it was almost like playing. And then you get the call, and I don't even know what it meant until even after the shot, like the filming was done, what it really was.
Right.
I just did one commercial before and like a little beauty pageant. I didn't do any like real big work.
Totally.
Yeah. It's kind of the same thing for me. Like I didn't really know. It was like, oh, this is just where I'm supposed to be because my mom took me here. And like there's a bunch of kids and we're going to like, you know, I'm not sure what this is. And then finally when it clicked, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm a fucking movie star. Yeah. You know?
I think I probably was a little more jaded at even at the ripe age of 9. But I think, because I remember them like, you know, pairing up all the different combinations and then sort of like screen testing in that other room. And I just remember being like, I don't know, how much more can I do this one scene? Like I can't bring anything new to this one scene.
I've never asked my mom.
I've given you my all.
Like cigarette. But then I do remember that after the lunch break when we came back and they had thinned it down to like, you know, the last groupings of people. I do very vividly remember walking in and the one time I did it with Spielberg in the room. Like that I remember.
That's crazy.
Because of my dad and the business, like I knew who that
and your
was.
Parents
knew what to
knew.
expect.
I knew that was.
I know this guy.
Yeah, but again, like they didn't tell us. They didn't tell us. Now you're going to do the same thing you've been doing all day, but you're just going to do it for Spielberg.
Yeah, only like the biggest producer ever. Like, you know, no big deal. That's amazing.
I've met so many like kids over the years growing up in the Valley that always like, whether it's true or not, would say, I was almost this character and almost this and auditioned for this, because you realize everyone who was an actor or not just walked into that room and auditioned at some point. Oh, yeah. It just felt like if you're a kid at that time period, you auditioned for it, you were close, and there's all these versions of people that like almost had it and were in that process too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thousands. They did like a news segment on it during that process of like, the nationwide search for the new. Yeah.
I didn't realize how big it was outside of like, my dad was a fan of it growing up, and he didn't care much about the acting or was like really aware of the industry as much, but he really knew that brand.
Yeah.
And for him, that was like a cool big deal because he liked the show as a kid.
Yeah. Same with
so that's why I was like, oh, okay, it means something.
Yeah. So we did Little Rascals. You had a wonderful career. I mean, I remember going and seeing you in All God's Children.
Oh, yes.
I always kind of revered you as like, you were like superhuman. Like just why? Because you
very
really,
kind.
But you really did bring like another level to performing, and like it it didn't really make sense to me at the time because we were the same age, like the same size. I'm like, how does he do this? Like, you were so talented and still are.
Well, thank you.
And, it was so neat to see you. Like, I vividly remember being a little kid and watching my friend perform on stage, going like, wow, like, he's so good at this shit.
That was really cool. The All God's Children thing. And I don't ever get
to it in the tape, like in the car when I was going to audition. This is Blake's part.
Stage itself is very different.
I never get to talk about it, and it's like that was such a life-changing thing, because a lot of the singing stuff got kind of handed to me, and I trained a bit, after Star Search, of like, okay, well, I just won a singing competition, I probably should take a singing lesson. So I did continue to work at it, but there was nothing like learning from those kids.
Yeah.
And because I was the youngest when I got hired into that group at 8, and the eldest was 18, and the talent in those 16, we vacillated the size of the group over the couple of years, but it was about 12 to 16. Incredible. I mean, it was a master class in singing, and then we were going to churches all across the country where you would just
Can you just describe this group a little bit for people?
Yeah, so we were formed by Lou Adler, record producer, very, very lovely record producer. I remember walking into Lou's house the first time and seeing the Carole King Tapestry gold record and going, okay, and that's John Lennon's signature on your lampshade. Okay, cool.
No big deal.
Got it. But we were formed after the LA riots, and it was all, it was a multi-racial group. We were doing gospel, hip hop, R&B, performing in burned out churches in LA, performing, we went to the Stellar Awards in Chicago. Like, we were, doing the full. So cool. And so it was funny because we were contemporary Christian, but like so much more on the non-white gospel side. Sure. And so the world in which I got to be a part of and got embraced into, and just the masterclass in singing. Like,
such a great learning experience for you.
Being with kids a different age, like it's fun to learn from them and kind of like have like sibling experience.
Yes. Yeah. And learning how to riff and learning how to like sing gospel, was so, it's skills that I took with me, that I still use today.
How long was that experience?
We were together as a group for a couple of years. We recorded a full album, did a full release tour of that, and then did a Christmas single that following year.
I remember all this shit.
We gigged all over the place.
So cool.
Yeah, that was really special.
Yeah. That was really neat.
Well, thanks for bringing that up. That's like,
that was
memories.
like one of a core memory of mine, having that experience, like with a couple of different child actors now. Adam Wiley was one, like what he did Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. I saw Adam in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. And then I'll bring this up hopefully we have Adam on here eventually, but we were a guest of his and I got to sit next to Jim Carrey.
Oh, how cool.
And I was like watching Adam, like, it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I mean, you did a lot after that. You did a lot more theater than just that.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you were doing theater not even that long ago.
Yeah, I've pretty much stayed in that, but right after Little Rascals, and then just kind of being in the grind of episodic 90s TV, and the circuit,
minor adjustments,
yes, minor adjustments, and Home Improvement and Nanny and all of that stuff, like going through the ranks of that, and then doing like voiceovers and animated stuff. I remember a friend of mine that was on Full House, Catherine Zaremba, who was the little redhead girl that I would sing with. Literally, her and her mom took me to an audition for the national tour of the Will Rogers Follies. I didn't even know what the show was. I had no connection to like current Broadway at the time.
Sure.
And I got I went into like the last leg of that national tour. I think I only did like 3 cities on it because it was like towards the very end. I was like replacement, but that kind of lit the spark for like, I do like doing multiple shows a week, which I didn't, coming from film and TV, that could be a very boring thing for a kid, but
you have to enjoy the work.
I loved the work and I loved the audience. And so then it was about a year after that tour ended, we got wind of this show through some friends that had just come off of the Miss Saigon tour and were back in LA. And they were, when the Saigon tour went through Toronto, they saw a brand new musical that was workshopping there called Ragtime. They said, there is a part in this show that Blake has to play. And sure enough, as fate, serendipity would have it, they were doing the U.S. premiere of Ragtime, not in New York, in L.A., here at the Schubert Theater, where we saw Adam do Beauty and the Beast a couple years prior. Yeah, that same theater. That's now sadly the CAA megaplex over there in Century City. It was, like, breaks my heart.
I know.
But yeah, so I started my cycle of auditioning for that for Ragtime, and that's what really changed. That, talk about a life-changing experience.
Ragtime wasn't that big of a deal or anything, So cool.
Was it because the time involved and, like, just the work of it?
The work of it. Also, again, being pretty dumb to the musical theater world, I didn't have any noise. And so when I walked in, I will never forget my last audition, because it was very intimidating. It was a row of, walking into the Debbie Reynolds dance studio, their biggest room, and a row of about 12 people. Was the entire creative team in the room. But I didn't know. who Lynn Ahrens and Stephen Flaherty were. I had not seen Once on This Island. I didn't know who Terrence McNally was.
Well,
I didn't
how
know,
old are you at this time?
I didn't know. I'm 11, about to turn 12.
You're still very young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know who Graciela Danielle was. I didn't know that I was literally singing and doing my sides for legends of the theater.
And probably better that you didn't.
It was so much better. Yeah. Like, I mean, the amount, I don't even want to think about trying to count the amount of Tony Awards on just that table. But I think it was just because I didn't have any noise about it. I just really wanted it. I just wanted it so bad. I wanted to do it. I loved the material. I loved the idea. And that opened up a whole new world. And working with our director, the director of that original production of Ragtime, and then also the original director on Broadway, Frank Galati, who sadly is not with us anymore. But what he taught me in 3 months of rehearsal, I couldn't have learned from getting a master's in directing.
At what point did you start to kind of get out of the industry or make that as a choice?
I remember I had to make a pretty definitive choice right in my freshman year of college.
You were going to real school at this time?
I was.
Where'd you go to college?
Yeah, I went to UCLA.
Okay.
And I was really burnt. This sounds so funny to say, but, like, I was really burnt out at 18. Like, I was so exhausted.
It's real though.
From working, because I started basically at 5, 6 cusp with Star Search. And I was really exhausted. And I begged my parents, I was like, can I just take a gap year? Very smartly on their part, because they probably sensed
a gap year from what? From acting?
No, a gap year from school.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to keep auditioning. I was fine. I was like, I'm finally 18. I'm like, now I can drive myself to auditions. Like, how about if I just, take a year and just like, I was like, I'll take some community college courses to get some credits. But, I really just didn't, when it was the height of the application thing and all of that and the SATs and all of that, it was just, it was too much. I couldn't take it. And I begged and begged and begged. And they were like, no. If you take a gap year, you're not going to go to school. And they were very smart to do that. Because that's probably what would have happened. Sure. But so I thought, little jerk that I was, I thought I was going to, I'll buck the system. I was like, okay, well then if I'm going to go to, if I have to go to college, then the only, at the time, the number one theater directing program was at UCLA. Like that was, they had beat NYU that year and they had beat Carnegie Mellon that year. So that was the thing. And I had toured both schools. And I was like, nope, I'm only going to go to New York if I can work. And NYU said you have to sign a contract. You're not going to audition if you're at Cap 21, their musical theater school. I was like, well, I was already doing Broadway workshops for like shows that were in the works. Right. And I was like, well, I'm not signing that. So I was like, okay, great. And then I did more research on UCLA. There was only 55 spots in each freshman class for that musical theater program. Uh-huh. And I was like, great, I'll never get in. It's like, I'll never get in. I'll tell my parents, great, this is the only place I want to go. They thought I was applying to a bunch of schools.
I'll show them, yeah.
I did the UC application. I only checked UCLA. I didn't even check backups, like no UCSD, no UC Irvine. And I was like, and then I went to the audition. It was a nightmare. I mean, the audition was the biggest shit show on the planet. They did not know what they were doing. It was a mess. I was there for like 7 hours that day to just literally do one monologue, sing 16 bars and a dance call. That was it.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare. I literally left before the dance call was over because I was so mad. I was like, my time is being wasted. I'm such a jerk. I'm like 18.
I hope we told them this.
I'm like 18. I'm like, I'm not getting paid. This is not right. We're overtime now, And I left and I was like, okay, well, that's it. I'm scot-free. And then like 4 weeks later, the packet comes in the mail. Like, welcome to UCLA. My dad was like thrilled. And it was like, oh my God, you're a Bruin. And
your plan was foiled.
All the things. Yeah, my plan was fully foiled. But so I tried, they had a version of the like, don't work professionally contract that they wanted us to sign, but it wasn't nearly as ironclad as the NYU one. So I just I was able to avoid signing it my whole freshman year. And I was still kind of playing the back and forth, doing, had the agent, had the manager, was still going to auditions. And I will never forget because I remember which lecture hall I was sitting in the theater school at UCLA. And I got the call. It was call, not even an email. Got the call, checked the voicemail from the agent. Disney Channel original movie. You've been in for the last 3. It's finally your time. This one's, they've said it because I had been so close to like 3 back to back. And I was like, I had almost gotten to the point of like not going to auditions at the Disney Channel building anymore. Cause I was like, you're not going to hire me.
Yeah. They never hired me.
You're not going to hire me. Like it just got so, and the casting directors, they all loved me. They all knew me. I knew them all by name. Like it was ridiculous. I was like, this is not happening. They were like, this one, the casting office already called. This one's yours. You just have to go in for the formality. It's a singing thing. Just go in, sing for them. There's no accompanist. They don't know what they're doing. It's a musical, but they don't know how to do a musical. So just go in, sing. This one's yours. And I was like, you know what? I finally have to draw the line in the sand. If I'm gonna do this, I'm not gonna be able to finish school. I'm not gonna be able to get this degree. Like this is too much. I was like towards the end of my freshman year, I was like, I've got to make a decision. And so I was like, I called back and I was like, you know what? No, I've gotten so close so many times. I'm not going to chance it with this. And that audition was High School Musical.
What? Another closing door. Wow. And once that happens, you get on a list like we're never gonna talk to them again because Disney doesn't take that kind.
And what's hilarious is the last one that I was up for and got to the last 2 and didn't get was Lucas Graybill it was whatever that Halloween Town sequel was. It was between me and him and he got it. And so this was literally casting being like, okay, this time we're gonna give it to Blake. And so sure enough, Lucas did it.
It would have been the role that kept you in acting.
It would have. And like hindsight's 2020, but like, and I don't have any regrets over the decision, but it was just hilarious because I'm like, it's the funniest thing of like, oh, that was the audition I didn't go to was High School Musical.
It's nice to hear like you had really, smart and supportive parents of like knowing. Yeah. Also, it's like they wanted you to have that experience at that age.
Yes.
I went to college at the age of college, and it was one of my favorite decisions I've done because like you could always take a break, try acting or theater more. But it's different if you go as like 25 and you're surrounded by 21-year-olds. It's back to going to school with no one understands you. At the time we were doing college.
Yep.
And that would have been a very different college experience.
It would have.
And you can't go back.
No, you can't. And I would have. I already felt older than I was just because of all the working, which I'm sure you guys can relate to. So I can't even imagine another year. And then dealing with kids that were fresh out of high school, it would have been a nightmare. Yeah, no, it was definitely for the best. It was definitely the right decision. But
have you ever had a normal job?
Yes, I've had many normal jobs. I've worked lots of different, gig economy life in my current sort of like what I call my day job, because I still kind of dabble in hobby in all corners of entertainment. Sure. But I work for a fitness company, and while I was studying to take my national certification for sports medicine, I just worked a regular front desk at a gym, folding towels, checking people in, and did that for like over a year while I was getting all my credentials.
Any experience of anyone going like just recognizing you from the Little Rascals while checking into the gym?
All the time. Yeah, all the time.
How's that experience? I'm just curious.
It's a little weird. Yeah. That was a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally weird because
you got to say it again, yeah.
I worked at McDonald's in a Walmart. So
double whammy.
Like taking someone's order and them going, okay, can I have number one?
Wait.
Were you the kid in Little Rascals? Uh-huh. Yes. Uh-huh. And now you work at McDonald's? Yes.
That tracks. Yeah.
Okay. Like, I think the stars that we didn't have cell phones back then, because that would have been brutal for me. But
I did a normal job for 6 months. Yeah. Like 6 months. I worked at a Hollister.
Okay.
At a mall. Then I literally just remember.
Were you the model outside?
No, actually, I was in the back and I felt a certain way about that. It kind of made me self-reflection. I'm like, wait, they put people in the front that look. I'm like, oh,
Abercrombie and Hollister did such a number on us.
They've been sued a number of times. I didn't realize.
My body dysmorphia comes from those two companies.
Yeah.
I think they're owned by the same.
Oh, they are, and they know what they're doing.
All owned by the Gap.
Yeah, all owned by that. Yeah, but that really, I think that screwed up the millennial male. We could probably do a whole podcast on just that.
I think there's been big lawsuits.
Yeah, there has been. There has been.
But I just stopped showing up. I remember. I remember when I one time I went for like a dinner break at the CPK in the mall.
Yeah.
I looked at the price and looked at what I got paid that week, and I'm like, I'm out. This doesn't make sense.
I can't afford to eat at CPK.
But I can live off. I can live off the 4-cent residuals better than this.
Right.
And I feel bad. It's terrible, but it was good to have that experience. My siblings, who are older than me, grew up doing normal jobs always in high school, and it was smarter. I should have done a regular job just to have that experience.
Yep. And
I was very spoiled and fought it. And my kid will definitely have regular jobs.
Yeah,
for sure. For that reason alone.
Yeah, I do think it's important. A few years out of college, I worked in, we're kind of like right as I was coming out of the closet, I worked in nightlife in West Hollywood, and I was a go-go dancer for like over a year.
Oh, fuck
and
yeah.
That was great.
That's a different experience.
So I don't really call that a normal job, but
the hours too.
The hours. But I was working a lot on my music at the time, and I was doing a lot of songwriting and doing a lot of recording, and it was the greatest because the hours were crazy, and I was getting home at 2:30 in the morning, but because you're up on a box, like elevated, and you can't really talk to people, it was like I was on vocal rest for the full 5-hour shift or whatever. So I was like, I would wake up the next morning and be like, oh my God, my chords are so like nice and relaxed and loose. And I'm like, I haven't been talking. It's like, so recording during that was great because I was just like doing silent cardio for hours on end.
Did people ever recognize you while you were go-go dancing?
No, I always, that never happened. I always had like a bandana on or like a baseball hat.
Do you get recognized in general on the street? Like just for how you look now as an older person from that movie?
Sometimes it depends.
It seems, even though you look closer than maybe me, because like the character was different, it seems so hard for someone to like, why would they be thinking of that?
Right. It depends on where I am. Like I'll get recognized if I'm at like, I find that I get most recognized. I love to go to theme parks, and I will find that I'll get recognized. Like I'll get recognized at Universal or at Disneyland. Like it's funny. And even when I'm sort of incognito, like people will be like,
how do you like that? How do you like it? Is it nice?
It is nice. It is nice. Yeah. I've come around to it. Like I remember times, right when we were in the throes of it as kids, there were I had a couple of like scary run-ins. Like I had a couple of mob experiences. Both happened in New York of all randomness. Yeah. And so I would get a little uneasy if I was like approached in a mall.
We were young too.
Yeah.
It's a weird experience to get used to. My brother would like walk 12 feet ahead when we would go out to the mall and stuff.
Totally.
Because at that time period, everyone knew it. Like we had these, like a group of girls that walked us around at like a Knott's Berry Farm when we were like 9 or 8 or something. But like everywhere, it was a big movie.
Yeah.
I can't imagine like that feeling, little kid getting mobbed like that. Like I don't remember having any experiences specifically like that, but that kind of like, it breaks my heart just thinking about that.
Sorry you didn't get that experience.
No, I never got mobbed. But like it kind of breaks my heart just thinking about that. Like the amount of pressure and like how do you even handle that? Like you don't have the tools to handle that kind of situation.
I think you just deal with it and tell people, oh, thanks, I'll sign this.
Yeah, you don't. You just, and wanting to just be whatever the person wanted from that interaction.
Yeah.
And how hilariously how it manifested itself in my adult life is that it takes an act of God for me to like go up to someone and introduce myself, like someone who I respect their work or their art or their, like, I would rather die than stand at a stage door.
I'd rather just say like, I appreciate what you do. Have a good day. Just kind of like, I want you to know I like what you do as a person.
I love to have like a quick interaction, something real, but like, I would rather die than ask for a picture.
Yeah.
Even if it's someone I worship, like I would rather die.
Well, I literally still get people the other day, and someone used the wrong name, so I knew they were asking some other child actor first. I was like, okay. I'm like, my name's not like Jamal or like whatever the name was. And they're like, can you just send an autograph please. I'm like, honestly, I don't do that. And I get that a lot. I'm like, I feel bad, but then I'm like, that's why people go to Comic Cons and do those things. And I don't want to start sending it, but people, I'm like, I'm responding, I'm messaging, like we're connected online. That should, I feel weird how to say it because it's a weird thing, but I want to say this interaction, if you're a fan or anything, should be more meaningful than a random picture autograph, which someone can make up.
Yeah.
And like that to me, that's why there was a period where I wouldn't respond to anyone online when I was in my 20s. And like, it was just weird. And then I'm like, if they take the time to remember something from their childhood and it's like a memory, as long as they don't ask me 47 questions after, I will say, thank you for being a fan or thank you for loving that movie. I'll answer a question. And then after 7 more, you're like, hey, I gotta go.
I gotta tap out.
Yeah.
I avoided it at all costs.
Yeah.
Like,
did you?
People asked me and I was like, no.
Yeah.
You
Like,
lied about it.
You look, I'm like, wasn't me.
Wasn't me. Not me.
You look really similar. Are you sure?
Really familiar. Like,
the
here's
hair.
a picture. And I'm like, not me, dog.
Yeah.
But
I got to avoid some situations by just being like, I'm not Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you probably did get that. That's funny.
Like, are you? No.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not. Didn't have to lie. Oh my God, the amount of times I was asked to do that too.
bet.
Did you all ever get assaulted by the weird autograph collectors where they just like have the pages and pages?
That's what I remember those books. Because I remember like I had that book myself on the set. I think my mom even gave me for all the different cameos. And even when I would go to other places, like I would have one for fun. So I know people would have that.
Sure.
And even now I didn't realize for the last like 20 years, people would get autographs. They wait at the airports and they're just selling them. Yeah. And I heard people talk about it as why like they're not an asshole not signing things. It's because they would see their stuff being put out.
Sold. Yeah.
And that's why people are like, oh, don't put a name. So that's why people, if they say write to my sister, if you actually write to a name, you feel better versus like just your name.
Yeah.
And if somebody like, it's more traumatic to see your autograph on like eBay going for like 40 cents than anything. I'd rather just avoid that altogether.
Yeah, I will avoid that. I don't want to be
re-traumatized older
that
it's no one wants it. That's worse.
Yeah.
So now like us doing this is kind of our way to get back into some kind of creative self-therapy fun. Is there anything like that you do doing theater or doing something in front of the camera or anything else because you enjoy it for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I still very much am passionate about theater, specifically about directing, and I have like 3 projects that I'm working on currently right now that I'm like in pre-production for in various stages. Some of them farther along than others, but that's my heart, that's my soul. It always has been. Yeah. It's funny how you kind of like we do when you work as a kid and your career goes in a kind of path that you're not really in control of.
Sure.
And even though we had it great comparatively to some of the horror stories, there's still a non-control aspect of it. And I think back to like, even before Star Search, I think back to like going to see shows, coming home, cutting out this like a version of the set out of like cardboard and construction paper and like moving action figures around. And I was like, I was directing theater from the time I was 3. Like,
but you wanted to do it.
That's what I wanted.
And now
like that's innate.
The control part is really real.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference of when people ask like, did you choose to be in it? Like you're the only story I've heard of like going to the parents, I want to do this versus like, I want to be a YouTuber now. Yeah. And that's nice and unique. We were all put into it. So I feel like at some point you're like, I'm choosing to get out and you feel good about it. This, or like I'm trying to do open mics for fun. It's like, it's nice to choose to do it with no expectations of like, I want to audition to get a role to be an actor versus just, I want to be creative and do something.
That's the thing. And also like being a cog in someone else's machine for so many years really made me go, okay, if I'm going to do this, I want to build the machine. Yeah. And not in an egotistical way, not in a controlling way, just in a like, if I'm going to put art out into the world, I want to know that this is what I want to say with it. This is the story I want to tell. This is the version of the story I want to tell. Just having that inherent and not just being like, I just don't have the grind in me. And I have massive amounts of respect for the people that do, and the working performers out there in all facets of our industry that are doing it. And God love them doing those self-tapes 18,000 times a week.
I feel like that takes away the fun though. I've heard it's all self-tape.
It's all self-tape now.
I genuinely enjoyed, and like you said too, you get to see kids. Yeah. The audition process was, at some age it was fun. When you get a little older, you've started to feel the grind. Yeah. But I enjoyed the actual like when I started to like learn acting after being like a teenager.
Yes.
You
yeah.
enjoy the work you put into writing versus like, I'm going to be a weird kid and change their lines and it's okay to be stupid and crazy. And you get older, like, oh, I don't change the lines. I actually find a motive and intention. And
Right.
that process became fun until it wasn't. But self-tape just feels a little like removing the soul a little bit.
Yeah.
I've heard it's easier, but I think if you had the years that we did, it seems a little like that removes a lot of what made acting.
Yeah, see, and I'm such a perfectionist when I have the final say that I like the idea of doing the prep work, walking into the room and leaving it in the room.
Sure.
And let the cards fall where they will.
Yeah.
Because so much of our rejection was not personal. It was the right fit, the right timing, the right this, the politics, the whatever. You know, it had nothing really to do with like, oh, you did bad in the room. So just like prepare, do the work. It's either yours or it's not. You know, and there's something kind of freeing about that. If suddenly I can watch every take back and go, oh, which one do I want to send? And oh,
And then when do you
I liked
end?
this a little more in this one, but I liked it.
Well, I would do 1,000 takes because
Yeah.
I'll never be good enough for myself.
I just wanted to get the hell out of there.
Just
I hated it.
wanted it to be done.
I mean, because like for me, it was like, you know, you get picked up from school early and then you go
Yes.
to Hollywood, Santa Monica,
playing with
Hollywood,
you.
Santa Monica.
Yes.
You get home at 9 o'clock. Like, you know, didn't really have a personal life. That
And
was
you
your
were
day.
you were up in the high ends of the commercial.
Yeah, the commercial was a grind.
Olympic and Bundy is probably PTSD of an intersection.
But you would have 3 or 4 a day because there's so many commercial shooting.
Every single day. And so I despised the audition process. And that was like one of the things that kind of made me very, that made me want to step away.
Sure.
Because, you know, I did want to have a normal life at school. I wanted to hang out with my friends, you know, I wanted to play sports. I didn't want to sit in the back of the car. My mom, you know, questioning like, I want to know everything you said. Did you do the eyebrows? Did you do this? Did you do that?
Oh yeah,
You know, I want
the
you know,
recap.
And commercial
The recap,
audition,
you know?
commercial auditioning is different than TV work too, and a different kind of grueling.
Totally. It's a different type of preparation. Like you didn't have, you know, it was very much like, oh, like I fucked that one up. They're not going to call me back. You know?
Right.
And you were very aware of that. One of the main reasons I stopped because I didn't want to go through the auditioning process anymore. I hated it.
The lesson I tried to take from that, because I felt very similar a lot of times with that, like the grind of the audition process, is like now when I get to be on the other side of the table, I try and make it so collaborative that no matter what, it's more important to me that they have a great experience, that the artist coming in has a great experience, because like they're doing the work, you know, that I am receiving, and it's not so much about like, oh, where are the cards going to fall? It's more about like, I'd rather someone say, oh, I had a great audition experience.
I had a good day because of that.
Great day. Like I got to do what I do in a warm room, whether they're going to get it or not. It doesn't, you know, because like we all know there's so many variables.
Well, I trained at a place called Leslie Kahn.
Oh yeah.
That was really good for comedy and for TV. And I did that at 18, and I finally learned your role is to make a fan in the room. Your role is not to get the job. Because you're probably not, like you said. So if you go in and you do a good audition and you come out going, you know what? I had 3 auditions this week. I felt good about them. If that becomes a good week for that reason,
great.
You can enjoy being an actor whether you become famous or not, because most people aren't.
Right.
So at least you can have 5 years of that, you know, take it or leave it, and you had a good experience. Yeah, most people are not going to like work a ton out of it.
Yeah.
So what's your goals for work, for creative? Like, is there anything that you want to do that you haven't?
Yeah, these projects that I'm kind of working on right now, I'm working on I can talk like sort of vaguely about it. I'm working on a piece in the immersive theatrical space that's like an environmental production where the audience kind of moves through the story with the actors, which has been done a lot in the horror genre.
Just did one this past Halloween. It was awesome.
Did you really? Yeah.
Yes, it was so cool.
Yeah.
Is it a show?
Amazing. And it's just starting to kind of cross into the musical theater space.
Yeah.
There's a phenomenal production in New York right now of the Phantom of the Opera it's basically a revival of Phantom, but it's called Masquerade, and it is a fully immersive environmental walkthrough of the story.
How much space do you cover in these kind of shows?
Well, with that one, it's like 6 floors of, you know, they took over a building and a rooftop, and you're going up and down and, you know, following the actors.
It's like the Scary Mazes, but as a musical theater
you
production.
Participate and like you participate with the actors, and they give you instructions, and it's really a great time.
Yeah.
Like what a neat, like, you know, I hope that takes off.
It's a really cool thing. what I love about directing in that space is that it pulls on not just my theater experience, but it really pulls on your film and TV experience. And a lot of musical theater actors, that have just worked in theater don't have that experience. So you're directing a show like a musical and like a film and like a TV show all at the same time.
So you're directing.
Yeah.
Are you going to be in it?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
No.
So you prefer to be behind the scenes now?
Yeah.
Is that a different interest?
Yeah. It's funny. I look at my performing now as a hobby.
Yeah.
Because I really love it when I get to do it and it's just fun. Like a year and a half ago, production company or theater company up in Rochester, New York, called me out of the clear blue sky, like literally DM'd me on Instagram and said, "Hey, we just got the rights to this show. We think you'd be great for it, to star in it, to open our season this year." And I was like, who are these? Who are these people? How did they find me? Like, what is it? So I email the guy back and I'm like, and in my head, I'm thinking there's only a couple of roles that I would be like, sure, I'm going to like get off of work and like get coverage for 3 months to go up to the upstate New York, where a town I've never even been to like do this. I'm like, this has got to be great. And sure enough, it was so amazing. It was one of the like bucket list roles. It was Peter Allen in The Boy from Oz.
How long was it?
A show that I never thought I'd get to do. And it was like, I spent 2 months up there.
When you don't chase something, sometimes it comes to you.
And it was so magical. And when the director emailed me back after we, kind of went back and forth a couple of times, he was like, and I think he was kind of like trying to like add enticement to the, and he didn't know that I was already like fully sold. I was like, yeah, I want to do this. But I think he was trying to like, get me a little more excited about doing it. He's like, we've already secured the actress that's playing Judy Garland in it. She's a Tony Award nominee. She's a phenomenal original cast of The Who's Tommy, original cast of Chess on Broadway, Marsha Mitzman-Gavin. And I was like, I just burst into laughter. And he was like, oh no, is that okay? And I was like, Marsha played my mom in Ragtime. Like, she was mother for the whole.
And they didn't know that?
They didn't know.
That's amazing.
And so I call Marsha and I'm like, are you going to Rochester? She was like, well, I have a letter of intent signed. I was like, you're going to Rochester because I'm saying yes and we're doing this together. And sure enough, we got to do it together. So went from mother and son to mother-in-law and son-in-law.
That's such a cool, like, full circle moment.
It was incredible. Yeah.
I mean, you've been performing your entire life.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel pressure to like, do you feel pressure to always perform, or like, have you kind of found a balance in your life where you're able to turn that off and know when to turn it on? Because like we grow up, like we're always trying to perform. Like I felt like that's kind of what I was programmed to do, and now like, I try to just not give a fuck as much, but,
I get that.
I was curious, like, cause you spent so much time performing for so many people.
Yeah. After a lot of therapy and a lot of, mental health work, very intentional mental health work, I don't have that impulse anymore. And I can turn it all the way off. And it's so helpful for me. Yeah. It drives my mother crazy. Because she's like, how can you not be singing? How can you not be like, don't you want to? And I'm like, sometimes I do. Yeah. And then when I do, I'll find an outlet for it. And then sometimes I can just go for a few weeks. Like, I don't need to warm up today. There's no reason,
That's good. You found the work to kind of balance it out and figure it out.
Yeah. And it's like, I like to keep my chops sharp in the long run, but so that if something did happen, it's not like a Herculean task to get back into fighting shape. Yeah. So I do. I'm in maintenance mode always, but never feeling like, oh gosh, I have to be on stage. I have to sing. Sure. I have to perform. I have to act.
If you want to be in this role. Yeah. If you want to do this project.
Yeah. And I have little outlets throughout the year that pop up, little gigs that will pop up, and it's great. And then it's just fun. It's just enjoyable. Yeah. Because there's not pressure, and it's not kind of like what you were saying. It's not it doesn't. I don't need it to lead to the next step. Sure. Right. So I can enjoy just that for what it is.
It takes a long time to get there, I think, when you've done this for so long.
Yeah.
Like even like this itself is kind of that. We're like, we don't need to do it, but it's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it lets us talk about something that I think we had a conversation a couple of years ago just about the life, and we're like, we've never really sat and talked about it together.
Yeah.
It's super unique, and like it there's not many people who could actually relate to it, like unless you sit down with other fellow child actors.
And film it so others can listen.
Yeah, so that others can listen. No, but it's great. And I think we were talking about this a little bit off camera about how, this moment in in entertainment when we were child actors.
Right.
It was such a specific moment
Absolutely.
in time, and it was such a, our fellow millennials are the most nostalgic, because of everything we've been through as a generation. That sort of the beatdown trauma of just that. I think there's a reason why we're all, buying toys and watching old movies that we grew up with, and listening to the same music that we listened to in the early 2000s. And there's a reason for that, and it's not a bad thing. It's just it's a unique to our experience, and I think so many people will love hearing what they didn't know.
Sure.
Well, I think it's kind of a lost art. Like, I think the 90s child actors that we were, that phrase is kind of gone. There's no 2000s child actors in the same way. Yeah. And people started to grow up. You hear, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be an influencer. Like, you don't hear like actor as much versus a version of celebrity that's very much transformed.
That's true.
Whether it's good or bad is opinion.
Yeah.
But like the child actor life, I think as we know it, is not going to really be around because auditioning is different.
Yes. Right.
Lifestyle is different. And the industry is changing really quickly in front of us.
Constantly. And because there's so many, streamers, there's so much work in other places, not centralized here in LA anymore. We had like kind of it was kind of a class. It was kind of, there was a class of us, like, and we all knew each other sort of, or we knew of each other, and we'd run into each other in auditions and like see each other at the functions. Sure. And like, those great little award show, like the young artists awards and all of that like stuff, we'd all see each other. Yeah. And there's no like centralized hub for that anymore. It doesn't seem like for kid actors.
I appreciate not growing up with the instant feedback of social media, because I feel like that's, even being as an adult, I find myself checking things after a post. Yeah. And I'm like, why? And if you grew up with it though,
oh my gosh,
the instant feedback is not natural for you to have.
I wouldn't have been able to handle it. It's just people have too much access to you, and like too much access, and like affects on your, like it affects your feelings.
And you give the access,
and but it's just, it's changed a lot. Like, I don't know how I would handle it. Like,
it's definitely different. I think we had a really nice shared experience.
Yeah, we did.
And
it was wholesome.
It was.
And we come back around to, we're also the generation that will talk about it in therapy and deal with it in a better way versus, like you said, if your mom's asking, why won't you still do it? My mom would ask me the same thing. If I had more talent and singing and dancing, she'd be like, you need to do this. Because she still comments in every Instagram video, I'm so proud of you. I love this. I appreciate it, but it's just funny.
Nobody wants to hear you sing.
I know, no one.
Blake, something I like to get into, and feel free to, if you're uncomfortable talking about it, but like the money aspect of things, because that's kind of something that goes along with, the stigma of child actors.
Sure.
Like, we've all heard all the horror stories and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Jordan and I have our individual stories. Like his parents didn't lose his money. He got to fuck it all off himself.
Yeah.
Yay.
Unfortunately, mine was all just very poorly invested.
Sure.
When they shouldn't have had access to it, but through loopholes and, this title, like manager titles here, manager titles there, ended up with nothing. But what was your case? Like, how was your money handled?
I got really lucky because of because my dad was a notable fierce negotiator in the studio system world that was pretty ironclad in like the trusts and things that they did. And they were, they loved to throw that blue book at everyone, that Coogan law, thing. So it was thankfully it was very well protected, which was great. Cause that became very necessary in my 20s when I couldn't work for periods of time. But the thing that I always say to people is that, like, you think that the trauma of being a child actor is all the things you've heard about. The biggest trauma of being a child actor that you haven't heard about, the taxes.
Yeah, sure.
From the first time I had to do my taxes by myself, I had 32 W-2s the first time I did it individually.
Yes. Yeah. And you're like, I have to save these?
Yes.
Those all mailed?
It's a nightmare.
Nothing was digital.
I feel like I had to become a tax like superstar. Yeah. Like I had to become an expert in taxes at like 20.
$230 from Sony.
Yes.
Oh, God.
No shit. I actually just got a residual. It wasn't Jordan's.
He sent me a picture.
It was my first one getting a residual check for 1 cent.
1 cent.
Yeah.
Welcome to the 1 cent club.
I couldn't believe it.
Welcome to the 1 cent club.
I said, it's your first time now?
I know now. Now a warning.
Blown away.
I've had multiple, and it made me the paper, the envelope, the people doing it.
Oh, yeah.
How much money is SAG burning over these years
Yes.
of like
Someone
these
got
petty
sued
checks?
along the lines, and now every single 1 cent paycheck will be sent.
No,
out.
it's been everything's
fail.
digital for a few years, but it took a long time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A lot of money wasted.
Yeah,
No,
totally.
and I mean, I still get, there's still plenty of paper checks that come through for those, like, less
It's
than
a funny
$1.
first world thing to complain about, but when you get 47 checks from a voiceover,
Yeah.
you have to sign them all. It is a lot.
It is. That's the thing they don't prepare you for.
I'm going to sign 47 checks. Not big checks.
Every
20
year
cents.
around tax season, I do like take a picture of just like, this is, you want to know what child actor trauma really looks like? It looks like this. And it's just like a table filled with
And then show the sum total.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the
Yeah, and
part.
then it's like added all of this paperwork up, and it's like $300.
People thought like people have wild views of, oh, you must have got paid like $1 million. I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like 6 and it's my first job ever. Like, why would they pay anyone that much?
Right, the misconception.
Yeah, the misconception.
And also it's like, and proximity misconception, because it's like, for me with like the Full House years, yes, I was standing next to Mary-Kate and Ashley the entire time, but I was not being paid what they
You're not
were.
getting Mary-Kate and Ashley money.
And also their money came mostly from the endorsements, not from the TV show.
Sure.
So they were smart about merchandising and straight to video. Like, but there is, our peers were also kids at the time, so they didn't understand what they were just like, oh, you're on TV, you're famous, you must be rich.
But then they grow
Period.
up and still have the same questions.
Still have the same questions. Yeah. And then it also didn't help that I like mostly played a rich jerk in a lot some things.
Yeah.
People would just
Where I
assume you're a
was
jerk.
like, or rich.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, no, not so.
Speaking of rich jerks,
Yes.
I'm curious if this has come up at all lately about your fictional father
About
from
Father,
a little
dear.
movie we did in 1994.
Yes.
Should we talk about that?
Yeah. I mean, that's been wild.
Yeah,
It's,
I bet.
Nonchalant cameo turned into a lot more.
Yeah, turned into like just a dark mark on an otherwise lovely film.
Yeah. I tell everybody he gave us $20. I don't know if that's true or not, but
The story that I tell, that it not a fake story that actually happened, was
Sure.
the day he came to set. It was him and Marla and Tiffany. It was Tiffany as a baby that was, the three of them came, and he demanded to have his like on-set craft service lunch with me. And so, cause he was like, I want to meet the kid that I'm playing the dad
See if you guys
of.
vibe.
I guess. I'm like, and he was really nervous and really agitated because
So
this was
weird.
like only the second time ever in front of a camera, in front of a film camera, because this was right after Home Alone 2.
Sure.
It was just, I have hardly any recollection of it.
Yeah.
My parents have more of a specific recollection of it, because my dad happened to be on set that day randomly, which was not very common.
Right.
Because he was always at the studio.
Yeah.
And so, but they were there, and so we had this like weird like lunch, and then it didn't matter because it was just over the cell phone. It was in the go-kart over the cell phone. We were never on screen at the same time.
Sure.
Like we had dialogue, but we weren't standing anywhere near each other. So it was just so weird. Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah. It's very odd. It's, people, ever since this election cycle of 2016, people tried to mine something out of it. And it's just, I'm more devastated with just like where we've come as a culture, that this person, this specter is, the byproduct of, that I think that's more upsetting. I think the problems are so much bigger than just this one man and what he's done, which is enough of a problem, but it's very hard. It's very hard to be a deeply blue Democrat, queer man in entertainment and like have this connection to the sitting president that I don't want.
And it's a deep connection. He played your father.
Yeah, well, yes, a very deep connection. He played my father for all of 12 seconds on screen.
Well, it's funny because there was a series of cameos like Whoopi Goldberg, Daryl
really
Hannah,
great, exciting
but they were
ones.
just old people
Reba
that just were
McEntire.
notable. People that were
Reba.
notable and big at the time.
Yes.
So it fit at the time, and it could have easily not been something talked about as in this way.
Oh, totally.
Outside
It's
of
like,
this.
yeah, I mean, it was like Mel Brooks, and he was the lesser of the cameos. I remember I freaked out when it was Leah Thompson was the ballet teacher. I was like, that's Marty McFly's mom. I was like,
And I didn't even know at the
Back to the
time.
Future freak. I was like,
took
oh
me years
my
to put that
God.
together.
I didn't know a lot of
like,
those.
we were so little, but
I got to work directly
I was
with
in
Mel
a
Brooks.
movie with her.
Right, I worked with Mel Brooks in that scene,
Right,
and
you
I didn't
literally had a scene with Mel
I didn't
Brooks.
really know you're he's like the biggest in the industry of
Totally.
just creators. It's
I
awesome.
did a funny thing on because I don't know if you know that Mark Hamill's like really big on social media, and so like I did a thing where I tagged him and I asked him, I was like, can we do, now that like AI and CG is so advanced, I'm like, can we just do like, can I have you as my dad, and can I have like Luke Skywalker as my dad instead of Trump in the movie? Can we just like do a little special edition like overlay, and it's just Mark
Director's cut.
Director's
I would
cut.
love it.
Can I have you as my dad, please? Thanks.
Of all the years you've been doing this and all the wonderful people you've worked with, like, is there someone who stands out who had the most impact on your life? Like just inspiration? Like who is it? Like what's a really cool story of someone, you were stoked to work with and, like I said, had a big impact on your life?
What a perfect word usage, stoked to work with, because it's Brian Stokes Mitchell. He was the star of Ragtime.
Sure.
Theater legend, Tony Award winner. The way in which he steered our company, it taught me what being a lead, being what we would call a final bow in a show, what that means and the responsibility of it, and how when somebody really cares about everyone, from the swing that maybe gets to go on once a month all the way to the co-star lead, and every person on the crew and every person in the theater, to the ushers, to the front of house, to the box office, that man is a pinnacle of artistry meets kindness meets just care.
Yeah.
And that working with him and learning from him, watching him do that, was probably one of the most impactful things. I mean, everything about that process really impacted how I look at art and how I try to make art. There was something so special, and he was so kind, and he was such a mentor to me. And so, he would just have like an open door policy. His dressing room was just like, here he is, the lead of this show. And it's a very, if the listeners don't know what the role of Cole House in Ragtime is, it's intense. It's not, it's not like, oh yeah, come hang out, kid. Like, I'll tell you a story about something, and just the kindness, it was a wild thing to experience, and I learned so much on how to, and because the first time I ever was a final bow in a musical was this last year when I did Boy from Oz, and I was like, day one of rehearsal, I was like, oh my God, I gotta pull it together. I'm the final bow. Like I gotta care about every single person on stage at all times. Like that is my job.
It's
like
your show.
I'm the captain of this ship.
You opened it and closed it.
Yeah.
It's a great experience.
So it was really, I really pulled on everything that I could remember from him.
That's cool. And that's so interesting because, it's the same thing. Like, I'm a cameraman now. And, if the lead actor sets the standard for the whole show.
Yes.
If they're an asshole, we're going to be miserable all the time. They're going to make it as miserable as they want to or as wonderful as they want to.
Yeah.
And, that's the same thing with, the huge directors or, small directors
like
who
you've
are
had both
wonderful and
experiences.
inspiring, who you would go into the worst situations with and do your best possible job, or, the ones you just can't fucking wait to leave. You're going to do the bare minimum because they're uninspirational. And,
Yep.
and that, that's definitely a big deal with number one on a call sheet,
Yeah.
Who's the GOAT child actor of all time, in your opinion?
Oh my gosh. Natalie Wood.
Natalie Wood.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that answer. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right
Natalie
on.
Wood.
Yeah. What's your favorite
still
Natalie Wood project?
Still go back to that original Miracle on 34th Street, and I feel like that's one of the best kid actor on-screen performances of all time.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you ever saw this movie that she did not later in life, but after she was grown up. She was not a child anymore, but she did this movie called Inside Daisy Clover about a child actor that grows up in the industry, and it's basically like a mental breakdown, and it's one of the most incredible performances. And she definitely, I mean, I don't know if I'm sure she was interviewed about it, but she definitely draws on something that, you know, it's cool. Yeah. And it's an amazing watch. If you haven't seen it, like, watch that movie. It's a wildly brilliant performance.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was always inspired by her because she started as, you know, just the cute kid in all of those movies through the golden age kind of era, and then became this incredible adult actor.
Yeah.
There's very few that continued, like, you know, Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
There's not many that are like that. Natalie Portman that were children. Christian Bale that had that. And oftentimes they have some kind of break period where they can probably refine themselves at a different age.
Yep.
And usually they're not from here in a lot of cases too.
Right. Yeah.
But it's a grueling industry to be able to make it through and become more famous as an adult as you get older versus just kind of still, you know.
Have you all both already revealed yours on the?
We haven't.
Oh.
Mine's Amanda Bynes. Amanda Bynes, watching her when I was a kid, I was like, this is my leader.
Yeah.
Like, I just found her wildly entertaining. Like, everything she did was just the greatest thing in the world.
Comedic
I thought she was the
genius,
funniest
truly.
person in the world.
Yeah.
I loved her. I loved her movies. I think she was you know, just a really special talent. And she'd be like, she's a dream guest of mine. So Amanda, if you ever see this, please.
the whole Amanda, please. Like she was also doing sketches on all that and her own show that were not just a kid being wacky and funny. Yeah. That was like genuine, a really well crafted comedy.
Yeah, she was good.
Character building. Yeah.
Mine's still probably more of an obvious choice, but I make it now with Macaulay Culkin because hearing him now be more open and talking about it, which he hasn't, it seemed like for a long time.
Longest time, yeah.
Just saw him in Fallout. And every time you see him at a basketball game, he's on the camera. He just did one of the award shows. Yeah. He looks so happy at every time of just doing the little bit he's doing by choice. Yeah. That's we keep using that word. Like he talks about, like, I do a job and then I retire and then I retire for something I want to do. And like, he can do it for what he wants. He's happy. Yeah. And seeing that makes me kind of go like, he's found it way versus like, he seemed like he went very far away from it. You never talked about it, you never saw him. And now he's come back and it's nice to see. Yeah. Cause he's the one that like everyone wants to root for and see him and see again and just talk to him.
Yeah. Macaulay's awesome.
Yeah.
This is so random, but if we had a Little Rascals all grown up calendar,
yes.
What month would you be?
Ooh.
And what would the spread look like?
Yeah, I think I would have to be a summer month. I think Waldo would have to be a summer month.
Like in August?
Yeah, that seems right.
August vibes.
That feels right.
Yeah.
You know, we would think of him now as, you know, probably a problematic human.
Or maybe his father turned him into a philanthropist.
Yeah, maybe.
And he's doing
maybe he would have gone.
Oh,
yeah, well, let's hope for that.
Yeah.
He would have been the opposite.
This is a choose your own.
Choose your own adventure. Okay, so we're gonna choose that. Yeah, we're gonna choose that.
Yeah.
That he's
Okay.
big donor to good causes.
So are you saying we're gonna get Rascals and make this and sell it online? And
just throwing it out there, you know what I'm saying?
Put some money together?
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Sadly, if we all, like the reunion when we all got into character, if we did that for anything again, it would be funny. Yeah. Sadly, we can't get everyone.
Are you proud of your body of work? You've done so much cool shit. Like, are you happy with it? Are you proud?
It took me a long time to get there, being really honest, but yes, now I am. Yeah. I am. And it's interesting because a lot of my friends that were not working professionals as kids, there was a lot of, a lot of us that were the same graduating class, all turned 40 this past year. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of like age freak out, I noticed among my peer group. Yeah. And I was like, I finally feel like I can relax. Like, oh, we got there. And I think a lot of it has to do with coming to terms with that. Sure. Knowing that, I can look at that and go, wow, what a cool life that was. How neat these things, these stories, and that people still care. Yeah. That's like nice literally the people that are going to listen to this, like still care and still love that. And it makes them happy to have that little like point of connection to this thing they grew up with. Yep. Like that's a beautiful perspective. It's so cool.
Well, and also from not appreciating it for years, to being able to itself is like the goal.
Yeah. I had it. I was with my friend, one of my best friends from college has become a very successful drag queen and was like a finalist on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, wow.
And so he was doing a gig at the Disney convention at D23. And we were like getting him out of drag to go back into the like artist holding area. And we walk in and open the door, and standing right there is Jodie Benson, the voice of Ariel from The Little Mermaid. And cool. he goes, he doesn't miss a beat. He looks up and he goes, Jodie Benson, I love you. And she looks at us and she goes, I love you too. Who are you? And so we introduce ourselves and have this wonderful, we take a photo with her. We have this wonderful thing. And I was like, and that filled my soul so much. And I was like, oh my God, if I can if I can make people feel like a little minor percentage of like how Jodie Benson, Ariel made me feel like, and the swell of just that, like, it's just like something so iconic from your childhood, I'm like, if I can do that, powerful. Even a piece of that for someone, it makes it all worthwhile.
You have to change from when, making it about yourself, like I'm still grappling with liking it or not. And then you get all these people that like, especially now, like you were a big part of my childhood.
Yeah.
I'm showing it to my kid and they say that online under different posts. And like, when you read that over and over, it is really nice because we were part of a lot of people's childhood. Like we could have had a whole child actor career and not been in this movie and not had that.
Absolutely.
And we're very lucky to be in that movie that was a part of people's childhood, like a few other movies.
Yes.
And it's nice.
Well, I think about that a lot. The specificity of Little Rascals and like what that means to people, that particular film, that it like, and because people love to introduce it to their kids, like it has gone generation to generation. It boggles the mind, really. I remember in my little jaded brain when we were on our press tour and we went to see a screening of Little Giants that came out the same.
Loved it.
I loved it.
Loved that movie. They don't make them like that anymore.
I loved it. And I remember I think we were in San Jose or somewhere up in the Bay Area. And we saw it. And I remember thinking, well, that's it. We're screwed. That's the hit. I was like, that's the hit.
That's the hit.
That's the hit.
It's such a good movie.
I like thinking I had show business all figured out. Thinking I had box office all figured out.
You probably had it more figured out than most of us, Blake.
Well, there's only a few. There's Sandlot, Mighty Ducks, Little Giants, but they try to redo it again, I think, for Little Rascals straight to DVD.
Oh yeah, they did
in
make
the
that
2000s
remake.
And like it was almost it was almost funny to see like nice. We're still
number one.
It's still us.
I didn't watch it.
I didn't know. I just saw like it blip by.
Funny.
But it's what happened was almost an accident with like Penelope was a very known and established director that made a film somehow controlling a set of children, which is insane. I can't watch my own daughter as one kid. I can't imagine like 10 of them in a room.
What she accomplished pretty much single-handedly. I mean, we had a great crew, but she was steering that ship. Yeah. And my gosh, and to think now as an adult, thinking back of she had just come on, like they had just wrapped Wayne's World.
Yeah.
When we started rehearsal for Rascal, I'm like, poor Penelope, what was she going through?
A little different film. Like, I didn't know what I signed up for. There's a lot of kids.
She had just had like months of Mike Myers and Dana Carvey just being brilliant, where you could just film anything.
Yeah. And then
everything's usable.
And then Porky doesn't want to do his line. He's like 4 years old. But like,
no, I want a nap.
but we're like 4, 5, 6, 7. Like, what do you say? Like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to listen.
It's funny. I ran into a couple of people who actually worked on the Little Rascals, like on the crew.
Oh,
like,
nice.
Now, like just on movies and TV shows I've done over the last 15 years. And one of them in particular, his name's George Bamber. He was a DGA trainee on the Little Rascals.
Wow.
And I ran into him on a TV show and he came up to me and he's like, he was the first AD. He's like, Blake, do you remember me? And I'm like, no. He goes, my name is George. I was the DGA trainee on the Little Rascals.
Oh my gosh.
I pretty much had to wrangle all of you all the time. And like, it was just such an emotional moment because it was the first time I ran into someone who like knew me from that era.
From that
and
side.
He's had this amazing career since then. And it all started with Little Rascals.
Gosh.
I've experienced that first for him.
Yeah.
George's
a good dude.
To wrangle kids, not what you signed up for.
Yeah, that's not what you signed up for when you
like
get that DGA trainee position. You definitely think you're getting something more glamorous.
Right. If you could go back and give 6-year-old Blake any advice about the biz? You know, do you have anything that comes to mind?
It's hard because it's like there's so much hindsight's 2020.
Sure.
I think
Yes to High School Musical.
maybe yes to High School Musical. Yeah, probably that. Probably to not stop when I got tired.
Sure.
Because every time in my life that I was tired and kept pushing, kept going, you know, like in the healthy way, not at the expense of my actual well-being, but like, you know, when you're just over it, when you just have those humps, every time I pushed over the hump, there was a giant reward. And every time I didn't, I missed a reward. So like maybe I would just say like, no, I don't know. That's a great question because I don't know if I would have won it.
Would he have won it? Because it wasn't, if you take that, you know, if we're going down that, like,
right, that coulda, shoulda, woulda.
You get that role, you're not turning back. And I'm just asking, were you ready and wanting to? Because that would have been more like actual acting.
It would have, and it would have been a really hard. You know, I think a lot of the time about that, and I think about like how I kind of was able to like, you know, have a little bit of anonymity in that period where I could kind of become who I have become, and you know, without that I would be a very different person. So it's not, again, no regrets, but I think I would say not to do it differently, but to just say like, you know, if you're starting to feel that fatigue, it probably means that there's something important coming down the pike or something. There's more to be told, and there's more to be, and that's kind of how I try and approach things now, of like I want to continue telling stories, and that just might look different now. Yeah. It doesn't look like the traditional way. There is no one right way.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a massive resurgence of theater, especially with what's happening with AI. I
agree.
Because I mean, you're a moron if you think that AI is not going to replace actors eventually, because
absolutely.
The fraction of the cost. I mean, you know, an AI actor doesn't need a rehearsal. They don't need a hair and makeup person. They don't need a hair and makeup trailer.
Nope.
You know, they don't have an excuse to not be there, you know. And I think that people are going to yearn for that human experience, and we're going to go backwards, and people are going to want theater, because like you can't AI that. No. You know, that's watching people who are at the top of their fucking game.
Yep.
And they have one shot at this.
Nothing to hide. Live audience. Nowhere to hide.
There's no cut. Let's go again.
Nope.
You know,
all happening in the room.
Yeah.
And also like the younger generations, even though they've grown up with screens, they're flocking to these immersive experiences.
And to analog, like the wires back on the headphones and a lot of things. It all goes back.
And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of this theater stuff that is environmental, that is immersive. You know, even breaking the grounds of traditional proscenium theater is more popular than it's ever been. And I think
you're disconnected and connected to something
exactly.
else.
You literally cannot be distracted.
Yeah. I really hope that the AI thing is more of a trend. I mean, and people, you know, it's a tool. It's a useful tool in many different facets of life. But entertainment and art, like, I just don't think it was made for that. I don't think it was made for that. I don't think that was the intention of it. But if it can be monetized, it surely will be. Yeah. And I think theater is just a wonderful way for people to always just connect with that human.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. The things that I worry about with that is like things like the ADR industry.
Sure.
You know, of like if that's replaced voiceover, and it's almost in its entirety.
That's where it's at.
Like, that's where it's terrifying.
Because you wouldn't even know. I think if it enables more content to be made, because like if the core of the service helps costs come down, maybe a little less production heavy resources, and now more films and shows that would have not been made get made.
Sure.
That's the first layer of like where it helps. But then look, we all know when it can be monetized, when it can be more profitable, less cost, like it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think, like I saw a conversation with Matthew McConaughey talking to actors of like, you just have to trademark and own yourself.
Yes.
And own your likeness. And I think
important.
If people continue to be scared and try to fight something, you can't fight technology.
No,
embrace how it can help you to do what you want to do.
Yep.
You can stay ahead.
Yep.
I do hope that people speak up and like want that more like human, you know, to watch humans act and humans perform and like know that there's humans behind the camera like me, you know, who earn a paycheck through that. And, you know, it's hundreds of people behind the camera, and that affects all of
everyone.
It's a massive shift that's coming. And it's kind of up to the audience whether to decide if it stays or goes.
Accept it or not.
If they accept it or not.
Exactly. And I can see a world in which it's like the new version of like B movies that were in the 70s, where it's like, oh, okay, well, we'll watch this, where you literally mentally categorize it as something different.
Yeah. Like a cheap AI horror film.
It'll be
like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
We're not taking it seriously, but it's fun.
When your phone's the first screen, it can be background noise that's good enough.
Right.
But people will still put down their phone or do something when it's either
When it's
immersive or
real.
quality.
Yeah. Hopefully. We'll see.
Hypothetically, if you have a child, would you ever consider putting them in entertainment, and specifically, child actor?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I always answered this question absolutely not, like very vehemently. But now I'm like, now that I'm a little older, I'm like, well, what if I were to have a kid that came out like me and just like needed to be constantly singing and dancing and acting and doing and performing, even in play. Like I think about my dearest, friends that I call my siblings. We weren't blood related, but literally my brother and sister. And I think about like us in the backyard, like putting on pirate shows, like not like literally for play. We were creating theater. And I'm like, so if I had a kid like that, well, who am I to deny? Who am I to deny them the opportunity?
Absolutely.
It's like what form of it is also part of it.
Yeah, it's what form of it. It's checks and balances. It's, I would look at it very, very intensely. I wouldn't go into it lightly. But, it is funny how that perspective has shifted. I was very much absolutely not. They can make that choice when they're 18. And now I'm like, yeah, but everything, the world has changed, the industry's changed, everything's different. So, who am I to make that decision for, if I were to one day have a kid that, had the talent and had the desire?
Yeah. Well, it's also a part of it for you came from you versus it's different if a parent just says, I'm going to put you in this, whether you want to or not, versus, like you said, you clearly have this energy, this enthusiasm. You want to do something. Yes. I'm going to find the outlet that matches
that works for you. Yeah. And that's the thing. It would never be like, you should do this. Like you should take a dance class.
I found my side hustle, child.
Yeah.
I've talked about this with Christina a little bit. Like when we have an infant, like we're 5 months pregnant, so we have a baby coming like
soon.
I don't see anything wrong with throwing them in a couple, like, some baby scenes. I mean, that's a quick way to build up a college fund. Like,
absolutely.
I've seen how much these kids, like on these TV shows and movies, when they bring in an infant, they make a shitload of money. And they're there for 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
So before it actually has a chance to like have any effect on their psyche or how they grow up, like, we'll just pull them out of it. But that's kind of my plan. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. Because because if you can contribute to that college fund right out the gate, that's a blessing.
Yeah. Just keep that Coogan fund locked up.
Yes.
Invest it. There we go.
Just refer back to that blue book.
Totally. So Blake, it was wonderful to have you.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful to be here. This is great. I'm thrilled that you guys are doing this.
Thank you for sharing like all the wonderful stories. And, I think you're a very inspirational one of child actors. You did so much cool stuff, like I've said. And, it goes so much, it goes so far beyond just like the Little Rascals, and there's so many different outlets of performing and entertaining and, and you've kind of covered them all. And I think you could actually be an inspiration to a lot of kids who like want to do this. And you're kind of the gold standard of how they turn out. Like you turned out pretty great,
I've had my moments, but
of course we all
do.
It's
we
nice,
go through
it's nice
it.
to be able to talk about us as adults.
Yeah.
So you're doing well.
But it's one of the goals of this podcast was, whatever the idea of child actors get brought up, there's always some negative connotation, about
Always.
whether abuse and poor management of money and like your family falling apart. And it's nice. Like, it's not all like that. Like there is a very wholesome and wonderful side of it. And I think that you're a great example of that, because you had wonderful parents and, you grew up to be a wonderful man.
And I feel very lucky. I do feel very lucky because it's like, we know those horror stories and the ones that are very real. And it's like, it's heartbreaking. Yeah. So I do feel very fortunate that I'm not, that's not how things went for me. And I'm really, really grateful.
And I feel very fortunate to have shared this experience with you and Little Rascal, we're all connected for life.
Yes, absolutely.
And like, even if we don't see each other or talk to each other for 10 years, like I could just, you could walk in the room and I feel like I'm back with my little buddy again.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate you and thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I appreciate you both too. This is wonderful. Thanks.
Like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps.
Our residuals don't.